Today I'm going to show you how to make a fondant daisy. You will need flour modelling paste, a rolling pin, a sharp craft knife, a paintbrush, a modelling tool, a foam pad, edible glue, yellow food colouring, daisy centre stamps, a toothpick, a daisy cutter or a plunger, and a foam drying tray. If you cannot get a hold of a foam drying tray, you can also use an egg box or a teaspoon. Firstly, we will need to make the petals. Get your paste and work it so then it becomes soft and malleable. Sprinkle ideally corn flour or icing sugar onto your work surface. You will then need to roll out your icing. You will need to try and get this as thin as possible. Keep picking it up and rotating it so it does not stick to your work surface. When you have your icing quite thin, you will then need to get your daisy cutter or plunger. Press this down quite firmly on the icing. If you wiggle the cutter slightly, it will make it easier to free it. Pick up the cutter with the icing still in and flip over. Gently rub the back of the cutter to remove any excess icing. This will give your petals a sharper shape. You will then need your modelling tool. Gently press the petals to release from the cutter. You will need 2 sets of petals for each flower. You can also use the back of the paintbrush to release. You will then need your foam pad. Put your petals on the foam pad and take your modelling tool and firmly press down on each petal, pulling towards the centre of the flower. You will need to do this for all of the petals. You will then need your foam drying pad. Put the petals into one of the forming holes, or if you are using an egg box, place on top of one of the peaks as shown. If you are using a teaspoon, simply place the petal in the spoon. These will need to be left to dry so they retain their shape, ideally more than half an hour. Get some of the flour paste, the yellow food colouring paste, and the toothpick. Use the toothpick to apply the colour to the paste. Then mix the colour into the paste. I recommend applying sparingly, as more can always be added. If you do mix in too much colour, simply add more white paste. Once the colour is mixed, get your daisy centre stamp, put a little icing sugar into the centre, Wiggle this around and tap out any excess. This will stop the icing from sticking. Then roll a small amount of paste into a ball. And place in the centre of the stamp. And press firmly. This should come out easily. Then simply remove the excess paste with the craft knife. You can use the modelling tool to tidy up the edges. Rolling the centre in your fingers will smooth this further. The other way of making the centre is to follow the same steps, but instead of pressing it against your fingers, you press it against the work surface. This will achieve the same result. You will then need to leave the centre to dry. You will only need one centre per flower. Once the petal in the centre is dry, get the glue and the paintbrush. Apply a little of the glue into the centre of one of the petals. Place the other petal on top, making sure that the petals cover up the holes of the petals behind. Then place a little glue in the centre of the petals. And add the centre. And there you have it, one daisy.